In most situations, I'm not afraid to take a risk, but in this one, I'm feeling a bit anxious. Countless fans were captivated by the Kiltchers for 11 seasons of Alaska, The Last Frontier, which aired from 2011 to 2012. As they hunted, constructed, and survived, viewers and fans were able to see a part of their lives that today, hardly many people were able to take part, for all to witness. They endured a life of subsistence. Fans have been wondering what the cast is up to now that the show is on hiatus for its 11th season, and it's safe to say that the Kilture Homestead has been missed. What are their plans for the day? We will discover the legacy of Kilture. A thorough examination of the Kilture family's evolution into what it is today is necessary before delving into its Kilture's current whereabouts and activities. The Kilture tale began long before their television deal. Honestly, it started with a narrative of evasion. As Europe was engulfed in the flames of World War II in the late 1930s and early 1940s, two Swiss idealists named Uli Kilture and Ruth Weber embarked on a quest to discover freedom. While Uli was a scholar who had mastered 12 tongues, Ruth had dreams of becoming a famous opera singer and poet who yearned for a life unencumbered by the clamor of Nazi persecution. In the quiet Alaskan tundra, they discovered solace one with the other. Near Kochmak Bay, on 160 acres of undeveloped ground without roads or other modern amenities, they had established their settlement by 1940. They led basic lives, way of life, subsisting on food from hunting and fishing for salmon, as well as farming the land to support their expanding family of 8 children. Ruth would use a kerosene lamp to read aloud to her children as she homeschooled them, washed their clothes by hand, and sewn using a treadle machine. More than they worked hard and had a goal, and their land increased to over 600 acres thanks to the Homestead Act. Uli was someone who did more than just build homes. He was someone who built nations. He was chosen as one of the 55 delegates in 1955 to draft the Constitution for the new state of the Alaskan. He would later become a senator from Alaska, and Ruth would go on to become a well-respected writer and columnist for the Anchorage Daily News. This was a watershed moment in history. I know you're probably asking why we're going over this historical material. In layman's terms, it is important to remember that reality TV did not magically unearth the Kilters all these years ago. They were the ones who broke ground in the media industry. In the 1950s, before the Discovery Channel ever existed, homesteaders Uli and Ruth made a documentary on their lives and traveled around Europe showing it to audiences. They and their aspirations for Alaska were recognized globally. A Pioneer Family in Alaska is the name of the lifestyle documentary that they made. Alaska, The Last Frontier, was a TV show that their sons appeared in decades later. They have a rich history that extends back through Yukon dirt. It's fascinating to watch how the Kiltchers have maintained their fame and fortune through the years, even in the digital era. Now, let's take a look at the current interests of the Last Frontier stars. That one is Ats Kilture. To name just one of the largest former and current cast members of The Last Frontier, and their lives outside of the program are no less significant. To the delight of TV viewers, Ats Kilture, the eldest son, took on the role of patriarch. He played the role of the patriarch and defender of tradition on the show. In tune with the land, he would spend his summers at the head of the bay tending to the cattle and getting ready for winter. He had always lived his life to the fullest, with music playing an integral role. In Alaska, he gained fame as a cowboy poet and folk performer, and his music was a constant narrative of his life. From his daughter Jewel, who would go on to become a famous singer around the world, to his son Atsley, who was a reality TV star in his own right. Atsley was a wonderful parent. She used to accompany her father on cross-country tours when she was a little girl. In bars, they would act as a father-daughter yodeling duo. On the other hand, his backstory was just as intricate and painful. Ats detailed his life in a memoir he published in 2018. His father, Uli, had a traumatic effect on him, and he documented this in his writings. Uli was obviously an exceptionally bright man, yet a cloud hung over his formative years because he was complicated and impulsive. Not only did he endure trauma as a child, but he also had to deal with the tremendous impact of his time in the Vietnam War, which caused him to develop severe post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. When he got back to his house, he had changed for the better, and then he passed on the trauma he had experienced. With his blessing, his daughter Jewel documented the toxic environment in which she endured childhood abuse and eventually fled at the age of 15. It wasn't hunting or constructing a cabin that Atz found to be the most challenging aspects of homesteading. Rebuilding himself was the central theme. As an adult, he dedicated himself to healing from the trauma of his past and releasing the pent-up feelings of guilt, fear, and resentment. On the show, Otsley played the role of the sage grandfather who gave advice and insight to the younger cast members. Knee-high socks. His abilities in farming, hunting, and wilderness survival were second to none. The farm lifestyle was something he frequently passed on to his children and grandkids. Even when he's not on the reality show, his life is very much the same. He keeps on doing things his own way. In 2020, he released an album called Acoustic Singles Collection that focused on his experience. He still writes and publishes songs. He now finds great fulfillment in assisting his fellow veterans through his work with organizations such as Project Healing Waters, where he utilizes his music, storytelling as a means of connecting with those who have also endured the devastating effects of war. We can confidently conclude that he has turned his suffering into a means of connection and healing, demonstrating once again that the innermost border is frequently the most significant. +1. Otto Kilcher. In contrast, Atz Kilcher was the guy who was the rock upon which the family rested, and his younger brother Otto was its lifeblood. Otto Kilcher was born to Yuli and Ruth Kilcher on their 6th childless year. From an early age on, he took it upon himself to repair any broken items around the house. Based on the Facts performance, audiences looked up to him as the mechanical guru, as he could fix up any old item and turn it into a survival tool. According to his straightforward philosophy, nothing is wasted, and anything can be fixed with enough creativity and grit. Phrase was one that he put into practice in his own life. But in 2022, Otto encountered a problem that not even his arsenal of tools could solve. As he diligently tended to his herd in the midst of a heavy snowstorm, a cow crushed him mercilessly. Cameras from the program caught the incident, which was one of the most horrifying parts of the program. When this terrifying situation occurred, his fans were worried about him. He suffered numerous crippling injuries, including rib fractures and lung perforations. His immediate rescue and transportation to the hospital for comprehensive medical treatment alleviated everyone's fears. Otto Kilcher was an egotistical kind who took great satisfaction in his robust physique. Therefore, he could not fathom being in such a delicate condition due to the terrible catastrophe. The combination of his recent health scare with other major challenges made him acutely aware of passing away. The path to recuperation was lengthy for him. It was clear that there had been a mental struggle in addition to the physical recuperation. Aside from physically getting well, he also had to deal with the trauma caused by the animals he had spent his entire life with, providing for. Not surprisingly, Otto Kilcher kept faithful to his on-screen persona even after the credits rolled. He learnt to roll with the punches and reimagine his identity in the wake of the accident. After the program ended, Otto has used computerized machinery, a novel invention. He started his own YouTube channel and quickly gained over 80,000 subscribers, solidifying his position as a popular video creator. The world has become his workshop today, as he updates his followers on a regular basis on his undertakings. To add to it, he is as competent as he once was in the realm of mechanics, and he still takes pleasure in the relaxed pace of life on the farm, alongside his wife Charlotte and son Ivan. He remained unaffected by his fame throughout. Rather of that, he put more money into the farm. Otto Kilcher's most intriguing work to date emerged from this process. He established rapport with the people who have followed his story for many years. Otto Kilcher is quite fine, and still going strong on the homestead. Despite the sad rumors circulating online about his demise, Otto Kilcher may have halted the show, but it's still having an impact on lives of his devoted followers. He is a living embodiment of the tenacity of Alaskan culture and his family's heritage. He is also a symbol of the importance of strong family ties. He may have an internet following, but when he's about the homestead, he prefers to remain in the background. Otto Kilcher is still an animal breeder and trained mechanic, even though he's 73 years old. He keeps going after what he loves, even though he's hurt himself a lot on the job. New video footage of Otto Kilcher rolling hay bales on his homestead has just gone viral. Although the show has been off the air for some time, he may never return to it, but his legacy lives on through his writing. In typical Otto Kilcher style, he manages to salvage usable parts from the most rudimentary dismantled objects. Even now he attempts to help out around the house and to repair any broken item. In his spare time, Otto Kilcher tends to the family's herd of cattle, turns garbage into treasure, and fixes broken objects. You may discover updates about the homestead and his daily life on his social media accounts. Also, he's still making appearances he may be seen actively tending to the land in recordings uploaded to the Kilture Homestead YouTube channel, which date back to early to mid-2025. The number 3. The Kilchers, Ivan and Eve. Having inherited both his grandfather's affinity for the land and his father's technical acumen, Ivan Kilcher is the third generation of his family to live on a homestead. Ivan is currently a devoted spouse, parent, and outdoor enthusiast. When it comes to being handy, the ex-firefighter understands just about everything. He can also weld and makes knives. In addition to being an excellent fisherman and hunter-gatherer, he constructed his own farmstead so that he could provide for his family, his own and his loved ones' heads. He weds his high school love Eve Kilcher, a vegetable farmer who also raised their children, Findlay and Sparrow Rose. Her nurturing nature shone through on the show, both towards her children and her vegetables. Along with that, published an excellent cookbook that is ideal for newcomers. It includes 85 recipes passed down through generations as well as tips on gardening, canning, and foraging. In his heart, Ian hopes that his mission in life is to encourage people to cut back on their consumption of food and other items made in large quantities and therefore lessen their impact on the environment. Ivan and Eve have recently taken to social media to inform their admirers of their newest endeavors. Even though they try to keep their lives as simple as possible, they nevertheless like using Instagram to show their followers pictures of their family and their adventures. Eve began offering bespoke editions of her cookbook, and she was attempting to make the leap from reality television to the literary world simultaneously. The happy pair also maintains an open website where they talk about their lives off-screen and the things that bring them joy. You may remember that they exemplified the ideal homesteading couple on the show. Thus, Ivan and Eve chose to update and market the lifestyle after the show finished, rather than merely continuing it. Somehow, they have turned their lifestyle into a thriving instructional enterprise across multiple platforms. Aspiring homesteaders have also found a home on their website, and there are 85 authentic family recipes in this booklet. Live workshops and special instructions on a wide range of topics, including food preservation and DIY projects, are available to members of their new online community, Kilchers Community. Their content creation has actually taken over their lives, and they consistently provide an honest glimpse into their lives outside of work. The settings. Their movies primarily serve as documentation of the day-to-day reality of their environment. This includes both the successes and the failures, as well as the quiet yet meaningful times when they pass on the values and customs to their children. Ivan and Eve have achieved great success in their own right, all the while preserving the heritage of Kilcher. Through their work on the land and online, they have been able to pass on the knowledge of how to be successful as a homesteader to people all over the world, while still maintaining the traditions passed down through generations. Exactly 4. Kilcher at Atsley. While filming the documentary Alaska, the last Atsley Kilcher's journey, according to Frontier, was one of hardship, trauma, and transformation. He played the role of the outcast in the program, a man who ran away from home to pursue a music career but who came to terms with the fact that he truly belonged in the woods. His next move was met Jane, the woman he would spend the rest of his life with, and she was a force to be reckoned with. With her background as a professional fisherwoman in Homer, she was well versed in the challenging realities of living in Alaska. She eventually returned to the homestead with her abilities after leaving her life at sea.
She did.
She contributed to the family's financial stability and quickly became an integral member of it. Fans of the show couldn't get enough of Atsley and Jane Kilcher, who embodied the ideal of the tough frontier pair. But in 2015, everything started to go wrong. While exploring Otter Cove on foot, Atsley captured, he slipped and plummeted from a precipice. Tragically, he was airlifted to the hospital after suffering many fractures, including those in his arm, shoulder, ankle, hip, ribs, and lungs. Very few people could recover from that kind of wound. Additionally, a few shows on the shows like Recovery Road and Hard Road Home chronicled his harrowing road to recovery after the disaster. The wounds sustained in the fall were more than simply bodily. Additionally, it wreaked havoc on Atsley and Jane Kilcher's relationship. The path back to health was terrible and agonizing, driving a wedge between the pair. From being able to withstand any and all wild situations, Atsley now has chronic discomfort and many physical limits. Their love story evolved in tandem with their changing reality. Rumors about a breach between them circulated over the years, and the reality came to light at some point. The once-loved marriage of Atsley and Jane Kilcher had crumbled under the weight of real life, and the couple had filed for a divorce. Lee and Jane have 2 kids together, Etienne and Pieper, who traveled from home histories of romantic partnerships. After much deliberation, the ex-couple finally chose to shield their children from the prying eyes of social media. All of Atsley Kilcher's favorite activities to do are still part of his life now. One other thing, he's all over social media. He has been giving his YouTube followers a tour of Alaska for the past decade, during which time cameras followed him everywhere he went. If you missed an episode of The Last Frontier but would still like to follow along with all the latest news and family adventures, you can do so by visiting his YouTube account. He claims that his channel is almost similar to the show, with the exception that no wacky producers are constantly going to extremes this time around. The unadulterated exploits of the Kilcher family are all that's required. Number 5. Judith Kilcher. Jane Kilcher hails from a little town near the Kilcher in Alaska, specifically Homer, Country House. Lots of people look up to her story of how she met Atsley Kilcher. Their relationship seemed idealized throughout her time on the show, as it was centered around a farmstead. While viewers of Alaska, The Last Frontier eagerly anticipated news of a new season, a startling truth was about to hit them in August 2023. Bering Sea Gold co-star Jane Kilcher made an unexpected revelation on Facebook, sharing some very private family news. She revealed that her spouse Atsley was divorcing her, and said that she couldn't do anything about the circumstance. In the early days of the CO outbreak, Jane, who is also a registered nurse, spoke on the show about how she would spend multiple days a week helping out in the outlying areas. Many of her admirers are wondering how she is doing now that her reality show has ended, and her marriage has ended. Despite her breakup with Atsley and her move away from the homestead, Jane Kilcher obviously did not hide. Rather than that, she made the decision to start over. Even more shockingly, she exchanged one Alaskan frontier for an even more perilous one known as the Bering, shocking everyone. The ocean. Jane Kilcher became a member of the Bering Sea Gold cast in 2021. During Enki's pregnancy, her friend and show veteran Captain Akali Riedel asked her to assist with managing her dredge. Jane Kilcher, of course, seized the chance. A crash course in a profession with high stakes and risk was what she experienced. She finally got to put her years of practice to good use. This was the pinnacle of challenges for her homesteading and fishing abilities. Additionally, she possessed as she negotiated one of the most hazardous workplaces on the planet, learning new tactics and earning the respect of a whole new crew. Nothing has stopped Jane Kilcher from carrying on with her passions. The indomitable attitude she embodies makes her path an inspiration to countless others. Described by a certain surname or even an address. Life dealt her a lot of curveballs, but she picked herself up and kept going. Even though she is a mother now, she isn't done experiencing life's adventures. All the while, she establishes that being a survivor was in no way. She had worked hard for her place attached to the Kilture Homestead. Number 6. Kilcher, Charlotte. Having arrived on the scene as Otto Kilcher's wife, Charlotte Kilcher later became his partner and a significant homesteader in her own right, expanding her role on Alaska, the last frontier. She hails from the northern part of California, went to Alaska in 1978 to do wildlife research. It was during the Exxon Valdez oil disaster cleaning that she met Otto. Charlotte was expected to fulfill a variety of diverse and self-reliant tasks around the homestead. She was responsible for tending to the garden and raising hens and lays clutches of eggs. In order to provide for her family, she would tend to the beehives and milk the cows. She started tending to a field of peas called Kilture Canyon peas in 20021-01010, and later on in the episode, visitors saw her implement a daily management plan for 455 peony seedlings. In one episode, she released peas into Cashinet Bay as an homage to lives lost to CO-19. Her hands-on approach was evident in all of her work. Charlotte Kilture is still very much involved in the land and has a rich and rewarding life now. She is still very much involved with the farming activities at the Kilture farmhouse, particularly with the peony fields, which she runs very much by herself. If you were wondering what she got up to after the show ended, you can find out on her social media accounts. Her continued engagement with her fan base is evident in her social media activity. As a homesteader in Alaska, she has amassed a large following and maintains an active social media presence. Her candor makes it quite evident that she is still juggling a number of responsibilities. To top it all off, she's a mother, a family lady, an expert on homesteading, and a botanical caretaker. She keeps on sharing the simple life she has always known and loved with the world through her Kilture country offerings, which include things like honoring traditions like farming and family. The peony operation has also been maintained by her. This demonstrated her commitment to the homestead and her degree of inventiveness. Whether it's tending to beehives and gardens, or raising peas for noble causes, Charlotte Kilture never ceases to amaze her fans with her selfless devotion. As she persists in her relentless pursuit of her daily mundane, that much is certain. Her hands are full, counting 7. A member of the Kilture family since her marriage to Atz Kilture, Bonnie Kilture Dri, hailed from Saranac Lake, New York. Her character was flawless, joined the cast as a perfect fit for the show because of her love of the Alaskan wilderness and her uncomplicated way of living. Although Bonnie's screen time was less than that of other performers, she played an important part that enriched the show's depiction of the family's representation of offering encouragement, inspiration, and enthusiasm for Atz Kilture's domestic activities. Bonnie has fully embraced and grown into her job as an artist after the show ended in 2022. A multi-talented artist, she has made a name for herself in fields as varied as knitting, weaving, beadwork, macra, painting, and sketching. Works by her, including Homestead Sunrise, Invitation from an Alaskan Spruce Forest, and The Homestead, were on exhibit at the fireplace area of the Homer Public Library in 2024. The Yurt Gallery on the Homestead is also a place where her creative activity is ongoing. She creates her paintings, using a combination of memories and images in her one-of-a-kind gallery and studio. Additionally, she is able to juggle numerous projects at once. Her art sales are more understated than you might think, which may leave you wondering how famous she is. She did opt for online sales, seasonal exhibits at local locations like Wild Edge Espresso, and direct appointments through her social media profile rather than large art galleries. These days, Bonnie and Atz Kilture enjoy the varied scenery of their dual-state lifestyle by dividing their time between Arizona and Alaska. Not to mention that she dabbled in singing in the past, playing in Kilture with her husband, and even contributing to an album called Good Old-Fashioned Waves, which you can find on Spotify. But nowadays she's more concerned with her own projects and has mostly abandoned music. Bonnie, accompanied by, no matter how bad things become, At and I will always be close because of our shared passions for music, skiing, and the secluded location at the head of Cashinet Bay. Throughout her life, Bonnie Dri Kilture maintains an open mind and spirit. Regardless of the challenges she faces as an individual, she never stops nurturing her talent. While she does her best to rein in her insatiable need for adventure, she still keeps working towards her artistic goals. Her life reveals the places she has been and the experiences she has had through it all. Frontiers Beyond Alaska ran to November 2022, marking its final season. Emptiness hung heavy in the atmosphere. Discovery Channel did not make any formal announcements regarding the show's cancellation or provide an emotional farewell. Over a decade after it first aired, the show that viewers had come to love had abruptly stopped.
There was left a kilt-shaped void in the hearts of viewers and fans worldwide who adored following the show's heroes as they made it through the Alaskan wilderness. Even after the program has over, the Kilture story continues, as shown in social media messages. Which actor or actress from The Last Frontier do you like, and why? Leave a comment and tell us about them. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and hit the like button. The video is playing on your screen. Please watch it before you leave. Catch you later.